everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for joining us again.
We're so happy you're here at the Femme Tell All podcast.
First one.
Holy we did it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the... Why did it sound so high? Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. My name is Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
And we're so happy you're here.
We're always happy you're here. And you've been here for
a year! Guys, we did it. We did a full year of the pod.
It's been amazing.
It really, honestly, it has.
It really has.
I'm trying not to get emotional.
No,
like,
don't
I
make
feel
me
like,
cry.
Oh, no. I'm like, I'll beat you up. No, genuinely, wow. Like, what a feat.
Yeah.
You know, not to pat ourselves on the back, but we fucking did that shit.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And honestly, thanks to you because
Thank
you
you
kept
so
us
much.
going.
Yeah.
I think if 3 months in, no one would have been listening, we would have been like, let's wrap
Maybe
it up.
we didn't do it all right now.
Let's hit the road, Jack, you know? But I think this has been such a rewarding experience. At least
like that's a great word.
Yeah.
Rewarding has been the epitome of what I think we've both experienced, from the messages we've got from people, from being able to just spend time together, from the conversations that we used to have with ourselves, like now being able to share it with you guys and getting such positive reinforcement from how you guys have taken it, grown from it, and then also given us feedback.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I love the most is when I'm out with friends or like friends of friends or whatever, or I'll get even DMs a lot. We get DMs that are like, hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about this episode that you guys did. Like, you know, you asked this question at the end. Like, I kind of wanted to answer it. And I'm like, that is exactly what we're doing.
So
this
fulfilling.
And it's just so sweet. And it means so much to me. And like, even last night I was at an event with some friends and 3 girls were like, oh, every Wednesday I listen to your podcast.
Aww.
And I was like, that's so nice. They're like, every Wednesday, it's like, I'm looking forward to it. It's my Wednesday podcast.
I love that.
And I'm like, that means so much, first and foremost. And also, we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, we do. And we will.
And we will. We made it a year, baby. Happy
we're gonna
anniversary.
Make it 5.
And if you want to send us flowers, chocolates.
Take us out. It's
Take
fine.
us out. You know, get some
accept
drinks.
it. Yeah.
We will totally we'll take it. But yeah, so in order to celebrate today's 1 year anniversary, we wanted to loop you all in and start a Q&A. So we did a Q&A on our story and through friends and family. And we're going to answer some hard-hitting questions. But
we got a lot of good ones. Thank you guys so much for submitting them. We've never done the rapid fire. We've always spent so much time on one topic. So this is a rapid fire, first ever on Femme Tell All. Tell us how you like it. Submit more questions. We'll do it again if you do.
And if you're like, hey, that was a really fucking hot take. We want a whole goddamn episode on that.
Yeah, tell us.
We will happily do that. We will happily perform. We're going to start with the questions, though, now.
The fun stuff.
We're rapid firing.
Let's go.
Okay?
Let's go.
Because I'm like, I got some really fucking great questions from, like, I mean, we got, you know, but we got a tie situation. Pause for tie. Okay. So the first question is, do you think it's possible to date someone with different political beliefs than you? Oof.
That is strong.
It is. And I think that's a strong question.
I personally think that with the way the political climate is right now, it would be very, very hard. But I also think it depends on how extreme that person is in their beliefs versus yours.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like right now it feels so what's it called? Polarizing. And so right now I'm like dating a Republican. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Wait, tell us how you feel though.
Yeah, I'm like a cowboy hat is fun, but like my guy, we can't.
I like how that correlates with the Republican.
Honestly, it's so funny because I'm like, I feel like patriotism, like to me, which that's a whole other fucking TED talk we can get into. But yeah, I think I would say no right now. I feel like it, you know, you should, I think the answer is you should be able to, but it's not looking great. It's not looking great. So in this climate,
so much at risk too.
Yes, exactly. I feel like if it was just like, I'm fiscally conservative, I feel like that's so doable. If when it comes to human rights, which is most of the polarizing subjects. I'm like, why can't I find that word? The polarizing subjects, I think it's a non-starter for me.
And if anybody was wondering, I'm with her.
Yeah. That. Okay, so next one is, what are fine lines in relationships that could be micro-cheating?
Ooh.
I think social media is always the kicker for me. And like, you got to be fucking careful. You got to be intentional.
I think for me, it's always the intention behind the interaction. If there is an intention of like wanting attention from somebody other than your partner, that is micro-cheating, regardless of what it is. I don't think you can really clearly define what it is because people have different actions that they take. But I think it's the intention behind it. Like if you're seeking out somebody to either give you attention
like
or
external validation,
anything like that, or you're looking for comfort in another person that you can't get from your partner. And it's also what you and your partner decide on.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that it also all depends, but for me, it would mainly depend on the intention behind the interaction.
Yeah, like I will even bring up like a weird scenario where I'm like, work crushes. Like that feels micro-cheating to me. You know, like when people are like, everyone has a work wife and work husband. I'm like, huh? What? What do you mean?
Yeah, no,
that just feels like a very slippery slope. So I feel like anything that like, my rule of thumb is like if you can hold hands with your partner and do that same interaction to that person and feel completely kosher about it,
it's fine.
I'm thinking it's micro cheating. You know, outside of that, you know, like if you can do it while holding hands and say like you have a nice face. I don't know.
I think even past that, like I've had this conversation even with Neil where I'm like, I know his intention is never bad, but like I still tell him like it's your responsibility to protect the way the world views our relationship.
Perceives us.
Yeah. And so even if you're liking a photo, commenting or messaging somebody or something like that and it means nothing to you, if they might perceive it differently, like your job in our relationship is to protect that vision of us.
Do not send a fire emoji to anyone other than your person. Okay? I'm all
except I send it to her.
Yeah, well, friend on friend is different. But I'm saying if you are interested in the opposite sex and you have an opposite sex friendship, do not do that. Okay, what's our thoughts on extensive days-long destination, long like bachelorette parties? Like that's a fucking fair question.
That is a fair question, especially with the economy being the way that it is.
In this economy, with
How
this
dare
inflation. Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, I think I don't think I'm in the minority here, but a part of me is like, you ride or die for your friends. So like, I would fucking put a pretty penny down for like all of my friends. Yeah. Do I think it's appropriate for them to ask? Not necessarily, but if they asked, I would 100% do it. I think we've lost the thread a bit. I'm going to be honest when it comes to like bachelorette and like baby showers and things like that. And I know we've referenced in the past like there should be equal championing for someone getting a raise or like getting their dream job or like moving away or something like that. So the rule of thumb is like if you don't feel like you would put down like $1,500 on your friend, like do not ask your friends to do that.
Agreed. I think you also need to be aware of like a lot of times friend groups have multiple weddings back to back.
Yeah, and the same year.
Yeah. So be aware of like what your friend group situation is. Be aware of what your friends like economic status is. And like if you want everybody there and it truly is about bringing everybody together, look at all the overall picture before making a decision.
Yeah, and maybe even I would say like I don't even think it would be inappropriate to like poll your group of friends to be like, is this realistic with everyone's like finances right now? Like I'm hoping to do a Greece, you know, bachelorette weekend, you know, and you're like, Greece, you know, you're like, can't we go to Vegas? You know, so I think having that kind of openness would be desirable.
Absolutely.
Is dating our type good for us, and can our type change?
Ooh,
I love this question.
I do too.
What's your thoughts?
I think it's yes and no. I think dating your type is great if it works within like your growth. Because if your type is somebody that pushes you and challenges you but loves you, like I think that's great. I think if you're just comfortable, like that's fine too. But then also being willing to step outside of that type box if it's not working for you. If you constantly keep hitting a wall, if your type is a bad type.
We've all been there, babes.
Yeah. And your type can change.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
I was going to say yes. I do think first and foremost, a very confident yes that our type can change. Yeah. And when I think about like dating our type, is that good for us? I think, yeah, absolutely. If it's the vibe, if you're like, I love people that are like this, like have A, B, and C. You know, listen, I dated musicians for the longest time. I'm done with that. We're here. We're done.
You had like categories.
I literally had categories for different times of the year. I'd be like
times of the year, not much,
purposely, but it was just like I would date like 3 musicians in a row, and then it was like 3 men in uniform. And like it's like I need to stop doing this. These archetypes are getting out of hand, but it's true, and I think. You know, we would laugh about it at the time. But I think one thing that I've realized with age and dating experience now is I can go into it with a type and like they can have like the overarching, you know, archetype of my type. But when a relationship really fits, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm like, I couldn't have imagined you better. Yeah. Like, I'm like, you are better than the type, you know?
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that.
So I hope that's what I would say people have, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, next question. Do you believe in the right person, wrong time saying?
No. No. I think if it's right person, wrong time, they're not the right person.
Ooh.
And I think that we want to tell ourselves that because we want to fight for something that's not fitting. And we want to believe that it could have fit in different circumstances. But I think that I fully believe the universe brings who you need when you need it.
Yeah.
And if this is brought to you at this time and it's the wrong time, then it's not the right person.
Yeah. And in that way, I think that they could theoretically come back at the right time then, right? You know?
But then we still don't know.
Yeah. You never know. I love I love that men specifically, and maybe I'm overgeneralizing here, which I am, but like I feel like men only use the phrase like great white buffalo, and I think it's the funniest thing, like from like Hot Tub Time Machine or whatever the fuck.
Had somebody tell me that one
Yes,
time.
I've gotten it 3 times.
3 times? Like, I got it once.
I'm like, I'm not your great white buffalo, babes. Okay. You don't love me. Don't act like it. You know, and I'm like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's sweet in theory, but I feel like it gives this like the one that got away vibe. And like, I think we can learn lessons from our past, and there can be people in relationships that we've been in before that we were like, wow, if I would have reacted a little differently, or if I would have been further along in my whatever journey, maybe this would have worked. Yeah. And I wish it would have worked. But I can say confidently, looking back on all of my relationships right now, that I'm like, everything led me to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I also feel like if anyone were supposed to come back, like, I highly doubt that. But I feel like if they did, then I would be like, okay, like trust the universe when it does happen. So I agree. I don't think right person, wrong time is really applicable. That applicable.
But I do agree with you. I have heard stories, but I feel like they're the rare stories of people that like didn't work out. It's the exception to the rule for sure. I just don't want people to like give themselves false hope and then miss out on something that could be really great because your eye line's over in the wrong place.
We romanticize it.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
do.
Thoughts on premarital couples counseling? My thoughts are great.
I think counseling's always good. Therapy's never a bad idea.
I'm like, go forth, my son. You know, I think it's like, do I think it's like a prerequisite that every couple needs to go through? Theoretically, no. But I would say, who's it going to hurt? You know, we've said that on the pod many times before, where I'm like, sometimes there's just scenarios where you're like, is this going to do any damage? Like, it's not going to like regress you at all. So why not? Why not give it a try and see if there's something that you could get into? So I'm an advocate for it.
You don't know what you don't know.
Literally.
So even if your relationship's going great, they might give you tools of like how to continue doing that, or your partner might have feelings that they maybe haven't voiced or didn't even know that they felt yet. Like you just don't know. Like, why not allow yourself to have that beginning point of like, this is the start of our marriage, and like, let's do this together, and like, let's make sure it's great.
Yeah, let's start off on the right foot. Yeah. Like, why wait for a huge issue to arise to have the tools in place to be able to tackle them?
Well, I always feel like too, like the sooner you start the the good things in a relationship, the more they become just standard.
And
so
habits.
exactly. So as you're going into marriage, even if you live together already, even if you've been together for a long time, that is like a new door that you're walking into. Like give yourself like that beginning point to say like, hey, like we're going to do this great together. And these are the tools we're going to use.
Yeah.
And now they're just standard in our relationship.
Yeah. So I'm saying
yes,
big yes.
Do it.
Dealing with comparison with friends. Woo. Like, I feel good about it because I'm like, I specifically surround myself with stars for a reason. I'm like, if you look at your environment, if you look at your 5 closest friends, like that's an accumulation of who you are, you know, and I'm like, I feel really good about that statistic, and on purpose, it's like, I'm not frivolous with who I spend my time with. I say if you're really feeling like this is getting hard a lot, where you are comparing your friends and it's like detrimental to your friendship, that's where I would say that needs some like inner counseling or like personal counseling, because I don't think I've ever, there's certain things about my friends where I'm like, oh God, her body is amazing. I wish I had her body. We've said that about each other, and it's like, or like, oh God, like, her family life, or like, those things like you insert, you're like, oh, I'm a little envious of that. I wish I had that. But I think once it goes past just that thought and then like letting it go and being like happy for them, I think you need to kind of do some internal work. How do you feel about that?
I would completely agree and co-sign everything you just said. I think that you do surround yourself with people that push you to go forward. Like I would never want a group of people around me that I'm just like, oh, like, yeah, I'm just better than them and like everything is great. Like I want to look at my friends and go like, shit, I want to do what she's doing. Oh my God, like that's so inspiring to me.
They're up-leveling me.
Yeah, and I like will continue because the more they up-level, the more I up-level, the more we do it together and you grow as a community. So like I want the people around me that are growing with me and we continue to push each other. I think when it comes to the looks comparison for women, I agree with you. There is like a healthy, like we look at our friends and we think they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And we admire them. I think admiration is different from jealousy. And if you look at somebody and you have jealousy in your heart for them, like I think it's checking yourself. But then I also think it's also like, are you being a true friend? That's not a true friend to ever look at somebody with jealousy and like, I want what they have.
Yeah. And be upset that they have it.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to be like, oh, wow, they have such a great job. I wish I had something similar. Yeah. And it's entirely another to be like, I can't believe they have that. And like, I should have that.
Exactly.
Like, I should have that. It should be like, I wish we both had that.
Yeah. Or let me use their knowledge and say, like, how did you get that? Like, like, I want to be where you are. You're inspiring me.
Even how can you help me is like kind of presumptuous. But I'm saying like that kind of, yes, I agree with you. Yeah. And I think, once we start realizing that people are coming into this with, like if you feel that you're being really like checked by a friend because they're envious of you, like that I feel like I've started seeing that like in the last couple of years where I've been like, oh, okay, those friends are not the ones that I'm trying to get close with. And like I purposely start distancing myself from those people, Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully that answers your question. Do you believe in once a cheater, always a cheater?
Hot take.
I
don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't think that anybody's ever one thing for the rest of their lives. I think people make mistakes. I think that cheating is really hard to overcome in a relationship, and that relationship might not last. But I don't believe that somebody's past dictates their future. But that also requires that person to change.
Yeah, it takes active growth and a determination to change. Yeah, I think it's a very gracious answer of you. But I agree with you, actually, unfortunately. A part of me wants to be like, no, fuck them, But I know plenty of people that have made mistakes in their life that, including myself, that it's not necessarily cheating, but like insert something here where it's like, I will never do that again, And you're like, wow, okay, that felt disgusting. That didn't feel like my character. That's not something I align with. And in those ways, I feel like it is so, I think it's so attainable for growth and change. So
I look back at pieces of my life and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like that's a different person.
100%.
That's not me at all. Like, and I've superseded that in so much, and like I literally feel sorry for that person now. And so I truly believe a lot of people probably go through that and regret decisions that they've made that they shouldn't have to be judged for the rest of their life.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a luxury that you get to look back if you've done growth. And I feel like we said at the beginning of the episode, I can look back months from now and think about how I would have dealt with certain triggers in a relationship and like now how I'm dealing with them. And I feel like, it's like growth can happen
all the time
so quickly.
And you don't know until you're in a situation.
Until you do it. And then you're like, oh, wow, past me would have fucking walked out the door.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like it's, I think change is absolutely attainable. And I hope anyone that feels like close-minded like that. But I get it. I've felt that before. I've felt like, oh, if I've heard that like I'm dating a guy and he's like, yeah, I cheated on my girlfriend before. It doesn't make me feel like a warm hug. I'm not like sick. You won't do it with me, But I think having enough.
I think it's how somebody responds to that question.
Yes.
If they go, I have done this in the past, but this is the work that I did. This is what happened, who I was at that time.
Yeah.
This is how I've overcome it.
Yeah.
If somebody just says like, yeah, I did this, like we weren't in a good place and blames the other person, that's a problem.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they go like, listen, I wouldn't make that decision today, I think you're in a good standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple more. Do you think it makes sense for couples to split expenses based on income or equally?
Income.
I'm torn.
Yeah?
Yeah, like my ego's like equally. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, what? I can hold my own. I can hold my bag. I can do, so, and we've laughed about that many times in the past. And I've gotten myself into trouble for sure. Like paying for more things than I need to. 100%.
We've talked about
it. I've gotten reprimanded for it. But yeah, it's funny because like I think about it like in siblings. Like I think about it with my siblings, and sometimes, and maybe this is just me being the baby, but I'm like, my sister makes 3 times what I make. I'm like, she can pay for a dinner. I'm like, she's got it, and that's not entirely fair of me, but it's because I don't have a romantic relationship with her, because it's so like tit for tat.
Sure,
like it's like you bring what you have to the table, I bring what I have to the table. It feels easier for me to be like, you make so much more money than me. That makes no sense for me to like cover the like the bigger expenses.
Yeah.
So in those ways, like I feel like if it was like, if it's marginally different, then maybe you just go equal. But if it's like a pretty
massive difference,
then I feel like come up with your own plan. It doesn't have to be like, well, because she makes the most, so she has to pay for all of rent or something like that. I think it's like, come up with your own.
What works for you both.
Yeah. If you feel like if you want to do it, like maybe that's the easiest way to do it, to like take down the percentages and be like, oh, I make this much percentage more than her, so I'm going to pay that much more percentage in each, that's how we split it.
I heard like a financial advisor say one time that everybody from their paycheck puts in the exact same percentage.
Ooh.
And then within that, it's split 50-50. First, all the bills are paid, and then the balance is split 50-50.
I like that.
And so it's like you're each giving in what you can from the same percentage.
You're 30% of your,
exactly.
Like if you 30% every month, you're taking that, like your income, you're putting it into an account, and then
house bills are paid.
Exactly.
Groceries are bought, and then the balance is split 50-50.
I like that.
Yeah.
But that's also because women make less. And I'm like, but also at the same time, like I feel very confidently about like Miss Madison Bellissimo is going to be making money.
Oh,
so I'm
girl.
like, I want to treat my man.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will,
We will.
And hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll see. Pay my bills, guys. No, I'm joking. Okay. How frequently should couples be having sex? I love this question. Oh.
Silence.
Well, okay.
How often do you think?
I mean, from past experience, when I was in a long-term relationship, that was also the least sexual I ever was with a partner. So that's the rub.
Sure,
that's the funny thing. Where I'm like, there was points where it was like every 2 weeks we would have sex. It was long.
That is a long time.
It was a long time. And I remember towards the end of the relationship, we got to like over a month.
A month?
Yeah.
That's
and I remember
too long.
being like, yo, what
that's
the
way
fuck?
too long.
Like not to compare the dates, but it's been like, and I remember that was one of that was like the writing on the wall for me,
Yeah.
And It really depends on the couple and their sex drive and everything
and
like
their
that.
schedules. I would say that when Neil was working massive amounts of hours, never really home, like it was definitely a lot less. But like I think that also it depends on like when you guys feel sexual. Like I don't think it should be so regiment where it's like, oh, like we have to do this, we have to do this. Sometimes you have to because of scheduling.
Yeah.
Whereas like hopefully you guys have the freedom to do it whenever the feeling hits you.
Yeah.
But not in a month.
Yeah, I agree. That's like I think that's too long to.
I think once a week at least.
I think once a week at least too. I was gonna say even twice a week, depending on. And also, I'm like, it does depend on like cycles too. Like I'm not to be like that, but I'm like when I'm not on my period, like I'm like let's get 4 and 5, like let's go, because I'm like the clock is running out. I'm like let's have mess-free sex. But then sometimes when you're on your period, you're like, oh, I do want it, but like maybe that's more than one time a week.
Yeah.
But I think like listen to yourself and listen to your body, and obviously sometimes people are tired, and sometimes like
there's other like health conditions that come involved too 100%. That like we have to take account for. It really depends on you and your partner, but like I think a general number.
Yeah, I would say once a week is like
minimum.
Yeah. I would say if you can go for 2, that'd be great. But
I don't think she likes 2 people. She's like, I guess.
No. I'm actually saying yes, but I feel like you know me though.
Yeah.
I'm a fiend. So I'm like, let's not bring my sex into this. Anyway, what are fun date night ideas to spice things up, Ruth?
I will tell you, for my birthday, like me and Neil got a game board called Date Night In.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun.
That's so cute.
And we'd never, like literally you just spin like this thing and you pick a card from it and then you have to like answer or do like a challenge.
Was that him twerking?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And he
had to twerk.
He had to twerk. And his feet couldn't get on the wall.
Oh.
And he's like, it's a slippery wall.
He
but
fell.
What was not filmed is me easily putting my feet on there afterwards. But we had a great time. And it was something so out of like, and it's not expensive. Mm-hmm. We got to spend time together. It was out of the norm of what we normally do. Mm-hmm. And like I think the game board cost like $20 or something at Target. Like,
so
and
cheap.
We got candy and stuff like it was perfect.
Yeah. I love that. I love that idea. One thing that I love that I've done in the past in relationships, and I think it's like a fun thing to do every couple months, is what I call a nostalgic night, which is where you do like a old movie that you guys loved, like maybe from your childhood. I think it's like, and not to like psychoanalyze it, but I think it really helps to kind of like ground yourself in things that like make you feel really comfortable. It's like listening to your favorite songs from when you were in high school and stuff like that, where you're like, I just feel so good. It's like, it's just a warm blanket. So I think you both go, especially for someone who's like as health conscious as me, I feel like to have a night that I'm like, let's fucking get crazy. Let's get Twizzlers, and it's like, that's crazy,
a crazy
for me.
night for her.
That's crazy for me. So, like that kind of thing where it's like, get all the candies that you loved as a kid, like get fucking like take out Domino's pizza, like whatever you loved as a kid, if Dino chicken nuggets, I don't give a fuck. Like you can be 40 years old and do that, I think doing one night like every couple months where it's a nostalgic night where you just like do something to like retreat back to like simple childhood pleasures. I think that's really fun. Also like I just recently did like a crafts night and it was actually his suggestion. And I thought that was so sweet. He was like, let's do a paint by number. I said, are you fucking serious? I was like, I will kiss your face right now. And it's true. Target is actually, not to fucking plug, but Target is doing, it's like, I think it's called like Moto. I'll put some link in our thing. Yeah, it's like a certain brand at Target is doing these boxes of kits, but it's like for people, for just DIYs.
Oh, that's so cute.
I bought 3. They were all like in the $15 to $20 range.
Yeah.
And it comes with all of the materials you need for that craft. And they have like paint by numbers. They have like finger knitting for like to make your own blanket. They have all this really cool shit. And I was like, that is such a good, easy, and it's like, you don't have to go to the craft store and get all these materials that you're not going to use anymore. Like you can just buy a $20 kit. It works for both of you. Adorable. Or,
Yeah.
And it comes with everything you need, and it's simple and it's fun. And it's like a lot of them were things you could like decorate your house with or like take home. So I thought that was really, really sweet. So those are the things that I would say. But to spice it up, is there anything that you think that could bring a sexual spark back into a dating?
I think lingerie is always fun. I think just like
me looking at the camera. It's true.
I think it's just like surprising your partner. I think the spicing, as we've talked about, like even like foreplay can be conversation. I think spicing it up is just doing something out of the norm. It doesn't even have to be so sexually driven. It generally will lead to that if you're taking you guys out of the schedule that you might have, or like the routine based things. Like you're gonna feel looser. You're gonna have fun with your partner, and that generally leads to the bedroom.
Yeah. You're right. And I think, doing anything that is a little spontaneous, I think that is always so exciting and fun.
Yeah.
And typically sexually, like that's why I do, like, I'm a huge advocate for lingerie too, because I'm like, it's a new simple thing that you can add in. Obviously some might argue that that's a little on the patriarchy side of like, we've been ingrained, like, you know, but I'm like, hey,
if you like feeling sexy,
I feel sexy in lingerie, so I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, do it.
I'm like, I don't need to psychoanalyze. I don't need to psychoanalyze any further, you know? So I'm like, if that makes me feel sexy, then that obviously like brings something to the environment anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really cool, doing something spontaneous, like having sex randomly where you're like, hey, you wanna
right here,
right
now?
He's like the grocery store, you know. But yeah, like something like that. And I think also doing stuff that's gonna like heighten your senses, like anything that's gonna, you know, like whether that's like trying a new perfume, trying to like, you know, or and being like cooking together. You know, I think there's so many things that can take you out of your mundane daily schedule, the things that you guys have, you know, the patterns that you've established. And I think being creative with that will always lead to something. Like, even if it's like, oh, we didn't like that, then you know, right? Exactly. And then you're like, well, let's try something else. Exactly, and that's what I would suggest.
Love that.
Those are all of our questions from you guys.
Oh, wow, that was fun.
The ones that we picked for today. But, we didn't want to go too far with it. But should we reflect on the last year?
Let's reflect.
Okay.
It's been such a beautiful year.
What was your favorite episode?
My favorite episode? That's a good question. I mean, just because it just happened, I thought Last Words was such a great episode. I think that it covered so many things. I think a lot of our earlier episodes, too, where we go into who we are as people, are some of my favorites, especially you being so open about your past relationship. I feel like a lot unfolded even for me as I talked through the year of my past relationship. And also just being able to tout Neil, like he's like another member of Vendel.
He's like low-key an honorary member. Yeah, it's true. What
about you?
It's so hard. It's like Sophie's Choice, you know? Like that's probably an inappropriate reference to make. But I think it really is so hard to like, how can you choose a favorite?
It's like babies.
I know, and I'm like, I asked you first. So not really fair of me. I mean, I think so fondly back on a lot of our guest episodes too. Like
that too.
Even though I love, this is our, again, like this is so, it's like breathing for us, right? To do this together. But I think back on Mac's episode, Midge's episode, Steph's episode, Adam, our moms, like it's just like so rewarding and so fun to like get someone else in here and hear their perspective and be able to like champion someone that we really care about and their message. There's been plenty of times where I think as a friend, not only as a co-host or like not even as a co-host, I felt so proud of you and how authentic and
okay, stop it. Now you're trying.
I'm really trying to make her cry. I'm like, cry. Yeah, it's true though. I feel like I've witnessed a lot of growth for both of us, but and genuinely, you didn't need any growth, but
that's not true. I'm still
growing. I stand by it. I'm your biggest fan, but
same.
It's true. I've had the pleasure and honor and privilege to watch you be so vulnerable and talk about past experiences and kind of discover yourself in live time. And I feel like there's been so many times that episodes that you've talked about your past experiences that we've gotten feedback that like they're like, wow, what Ruth shared really affected me, really healed me. Like I still have women reach out to me about our like self-sabotage episode, our like when to leave a relationship one. I get that one a lot where women reach out to me and they're like, wow, not until I listened to that and I listened to Ruth's experience did I really understand like I was in a toxic relationship before. And those really feel near and dear to my heart. You know, and I feel like we're actually I think it's again, a privilege to be able to do something we love and do something that we're like kikiing about. You know, we're like, let's start a pod. But also feel like we're actually, I don't want to be like holier than thou, but like making a difference to some extent, you know, impacting people in some sort of way, even if that makes people feel comfortable about what they're going through, even if that's like them having a friend. Like I feel like the sentiment that we hear a lot is people listen to us and they're like, I feel like I'm at a sleepover with the girls, you know? And I think that was our impression and intention all along. So
I love that.
I know that's an oversweeping, but
no, that's so sweet. Thank you so much for those words. And I feel equally the same about you, just seeing like if we go back to a year ago.
Oh, dude.
And then not only seeing like how you've healed over the past year and then continue to grow.
Thanks.
But then also just how we've grown as host as well. And like just to see like continuously get better and better and better. And then being able to just be together in these moments and share it together has been so special. And then also to share it with you guys too. And like you said, I've gotten so many messages from people like, I feel like I get to hang out with you guys every day.
Yeah.
I love that people that don't
know each other. Yeah, right.
Technically know you.
Yeah.
And they talk about you like they know you because you're able to connect so well with the audience through the camera, through through your voice, like through your stories, through your openness. And I really appreciate that about you.
Yeah. We didn't go into this episode trying to compliment each other. I'm sorry, guys. But you know, if you're a femtall person
by now,
that we love each other. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I think, it's like we're almost infamous in each other's circles, which is hilarious. And so many people, some of my friends that now know you, were like, I know Ruth so well. You know, they know Neil, and they know, you know, and they're like, oh my God, I know all about you guys, which is such a weird experience, but so beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, the healing, and I think I laugh when I think about, you know, sometimes people are like, how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, well, we've kind of been doing this for a long. We were in concept with this podcast for more than this year.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Much more than this year. But we were so scared, I think, of like actually taking that leap. And I'm so glad we did. And it's just kind of ironic. I think it's so funny that, you know, we used to be so regimented with like what we were going to talk about, how we were going to talk about it. And we still are, but we're a pretty well-oiled machine now where it's like we sit down, the mic is on, and we're like, hey, welcome to Event Wall, you know? And I think that just is a testament to, you know, it's like, I think it's 10,000 hours is like you're an expert at something or whatever. We haven't hit our 10,000 hours yet, but I think we
might have, though. If you
just
combine,
talking about it. Yeah. But I think, you know, I think we're finding something that we can really hold on to. And this is, I've never been someone that thought about leaving a legacy or leaving any kind of thing behind. Like I don't have like an ego about like I need to be remembered a certain way other than like how I treated people. But I do find it interesting that like we can go and look back and it's kind of time capsules of like what we've gone through. And just to see us grow and see like the exciting things and see like us talking to our future selves, even like we make jokes where we're like, watch me eat my words in 3 months, and a lot of the times we are. So I think it's a luxury, and I can't wait to continue doing it.
Me too. Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you.
Did you have any other yearly anniversary questions that we could maybe have for each other?
What do you want to do in the next year?
Ooh, not for putting me on the spot. No, that's really good actually. Definitely like just build up our base some more. Yeah. Like I feel like we haven't had the exposure that not that we deserve, but I think that like we haven't had the correct exposure yet. Like we've found some niche audiences in both like TikTok, Instagram, and like otherwise. But I want to expand more, and honestly, like I want to create more of a community.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, because when we feel that's I think what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode is like it is so palpable. Yeah. When I get to talk to friends, even like, or I hear people message us that are not people have messaged us that I'm not, you know, friends with. You know,
we've had comments on like YouTube, on like on the Instagram, on all the social platforms that have been amazing. That people that don't even know us personally have reached out, and that's been so incredible.
It's so rewarding. And again, it just inspires us more to keep going.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first things that comes to mind is definitely community. let's monetize this too. Like let's start making that dough.
We want to also make some merch so we know all the femtell people out there. Yeah,
I know. And also, like, let's workshop a fan base name. Like,
yes. What do you guys want to be called?
What do you want to be? Like, who are we?
Yeah.
Are we the fembots? Are we like the family? Like, what is
the
it?
family.
Like,
I love that.
Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to come up with it.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I think
you guys
y'all
tell
need
us.
to come up with it. So I think, yeah, just building that community base.
Yeah.
And yeah, like merch is a huge thing. I think meetups is
Yeah.
huge for us. I would
Yeah.
love to do a meetup with people so that we can actually engage with some listeners.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm just ready to fucking rock and roll. Like,
Let's
I feel like
do that.
there's been a couple of episodes that we were timid to make.
Yeah.
That we were like, oh shit, we're talking about sex. And
Yeah.
it's so easy for us to talk about it normally. But then we get on the mics and we're like, hee hee. But then those perform some of the best.
Yeah.
You know, it's like sometimes when we're the most vulnerable or the most like
Open,
audacious
yeah.
with our like topics, they do the best.
Very well, yeah.
So just kind of leaning more into that while still a goal for me, and I don't know if I don't think you have to worry about this as much. A goal for me is learning when to keep things at my chest. I'm like, I'm an open book, baby. But I think after this year, I've realized like the podcast goes further than just me because I'm like, I'm fine telling everyone,
Yeah.
you know, how I feel about. But I'm like, you know, partners, friends
Sure, yeah.
that maybe don't want to be so
Out there as
blasted
much, yeah.
on the pod. I love you guys. But I'm like, okay, yeah, like I can be better about
Yeah,
being
and-
diligent about that.
I get that. Yeah, we definitely have to respect the people around us. Like they didn't choose to do what we're doing.
They didn't choose to be
Yeah.
famous
Yeah.
podcasters. Like, yeah, no, agreed. So I think doing that and really creating those boundaries perfectly would be my goal. What's your goal for the next year?
I agree with you with the community. I would love to do meetups as well. I just want to see us keep growing. Like, I think that the whole mission has always been to touch and support women as much as possible. But also, I think a secondary goal that was realized within this year was also helping men because, like, there are, like, it is hard as a man to maybe, like, know, like, how a woman thinks or how to approach a woman or, like, or to feel confident as a man when you're approaching, whatever that might be. Like, we want to help men as well. Like, we're very inclusive here across all borders.
Yeah.
And even though it started off being the focus of women, which I think is still the main focus,
Yeah.
I think that an ancillary thing that we've learned and seen is that this can help men as well.
So helpful. I would say it's predominantly more helpful for men because I feel like with the women that are listening to this, it's like a validating experience.
Sure, yeah.
And I feel like, not to be preachy, but I think sometimes it's more educational for the men that are listening.
Yeah.
Like we've had so many guys reach out to us and be like, what? That
Yeah.
period episode? I didn't know that shit happened. And it's like, yeah, babes. Like, what do you think's happening monthly? Or like, you know, like I'm like, I think sex is such a funny topic because and it's like even talking to partners about sex and then I've heard men talking to men about sex and like giving sex
Like-
advice and I'm like, who is giving that advice? I'm like,
or
that is-
dating advice.
Yes.
Like, literally.
I'm like, no. Have you met a woman? I'm like, you were birthed by one, so like, there's
Talk
no
to
way.
your mom even.
Yeah. So I agree with you, and I'm so glad you highlighted that because I get offended. Like we had someone recently introduce us to like at a networking event, and they said, and they didn't mean it.
No, not
rudely
in a
at all.
negative
They were
way.
saying it so sweetly,
Yeah.
but they were like, "Yeah, they do a woman's podcast," and I was like, "A woman's podcast?" It's like, what the fuck does that mean? And I called him out because I was like, "What does that even mean?"
Exactly.
And I remember being so aggressive about it. And I'm like, yeah, I get like fem is in our but that's short for femininity, which yes, inherently is women, but it's anyone. And that's been our mission statement from Gate. So like I think that was interesting. And I'm like, yeah, we want to be as inclusive and as palatable for everyone.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
And I'll even add that I think, you know, we started this with taboo subjects in at the forefront, but we've realized through like our discussions and like how the audience has, you know, reacted to how the beast has changed in real time. Like we enjoy more just like topical situations, you know, and we're like, it doesn't have to always be taboo. And so I think moving forward with that in the next year too of like broadening our net a little so we don't feel like
beholden to like a certain absolutely,
and sometimes we're gonna just do a little more, not like a fluff piece, but more of a like, it doesn't have to be so
Heavy,
jarring. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are our goals for the year. If you guys have anything you want to tell us
or see from us, let
Yes.
us know.
Yeah.
And then also, like, if you guys are local, we're in the Los Angeles area, we are going to start doing some meetups.
Yeah.
We might even do one for the anniversary.
honestly, we are.
So
hit us up.
We'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for submitting questions. And again, please, if you like this, submit more. We'll do episodes. We'll do another rapid fire if you guys are interested in that.
Yeah.
But
If you want us to expand on any of those topics and do like a full fleshed out episode, we'll happily do it. And thank you.
Yeah. Whoa, we didn't plan that.
No, we didn't. But I'm like, genuinely, guys, thank you
so much. We've truly, truly enjoyed this year and can't wait for many more years to come.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being a part of the
Thank
Femtell
you.
All community. Thank you,
Thank
Ruth
you,
Devereaux.
Madison Bellissimo.
And like, subscribe.
Yeah, let's comment, like, subscribe. Tell us how many more years you want to see us right in front of your faces.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.